Hi everyone, Martin Bamford here. I usually make videos about personal finance, investing and happiness with the intention of helping you to become wealthier and happier. But this one is slightly different because I'm sharing a few of my tips for improving your working from home experience. As you might have seen in my video earlier in the week, which was sharing my working from home story, in light of the news that insurer Aviva plans to allow staff to work from home permanently following the pandemic, I believe that working from home is here to stay. Even when the pandemic is over, whenever that might be, and the law changes from its current position of everyone who can work from home must do so, I don't see a mass return to offices. But I'm not going to get into that too much in this video. Instead, this is for anyone who finds themselves working from home today and wants to improve that experience. But it's also for the large and growing number of people who never want to return to a commute again. People who think back to before the pandemic started and seriously question where they found the time to travel each day back and forth to an office. Before I share my tips on improving the working from home experience, the factors that have made the biggest difference for me personally, please do take a second to smash that like button and press that little red subscribe button to become part of our subscriber community here on YouTube. It's completely free and you'll never miss an episode. I've got 5 tips then, and the first one is to create some dedicated space to work from home. Before I talk about this one and why it matters so much, allow me for a moment to recognise that it simply isn't possible for everyone. Working from home has been utterly miserable for many people who have got no available space. For example, people sharing flats in city centres. I get that. But if you can, you should invest in a dedicated space for working from home. I started my working from home experience with a desk at one end of our bedroom. It was novel at first, but I soon found it difficult to switch off from work, as even lying in bed at night, my desk and the world of work was only a few feet away. If you can repurpose a room in your house to become an office, that's great. Do it. The ability to close and lock a door creates mental as well as physical separation from your work. If you don't have space inside of the house, look for space outside of it. We don't have a spare bedroom in our house I could repurpose into an office, so I built a garden office last summer. It came in a kit form from Tiger Sheds, and despite my complete absence of DIY skills, I was able to build it in a few days. I had an electrician visit to wire the thing in for power, light and heating, and I ran an internet connection from the house, drilling through a couple of brick walls to get the cable here. You might be thinking to yourself right now, is it really worth investing in a garden office if I'm able to get back to my own office in a few months' time? Well, yes, I think it probably is. Nobody knows for sure how long this pandemic will last. And even when you're allowed to get back to your office, you might crunch the numbers. I hope you do crunch the numbers, look at money and time, and then determine that working from home, at least for a few days of each week, makes a great deal of sense. And as much as I hate to be a doom monger, I think it's reasonable to expect another pandemic of these proportions at some point in the not too distant future. And then you'll be prepared to work from home when that ultimately happens. Tip number 2 is to have the right kit at home. I think a temptation when working from home is to do it with the skeleton amount of equipment. For example, working from a laptop. I was using my laptop until only a few months ago, albeit plugged into a second monitor and with an external keyboard and mouse. But you need the right tools for the job. I had a powerful PC sitting doing nothing in my old office, so I went to collect it, within government guidelines of course, and using it instead of my laptop saves me a significant amount of time and stress every day. Get the right kit in place at home. A second monitor is an absolute must. I'm working with 3 monitors in my garden office setup at the moment, one of them dedicated for video and podcast editing. Get a proper chair so you don't develop back problems. Get a solid desk at the right height. Don't go perching on your dining room table, your kitchen worktops, or, and we've heard of this happening, on an ironing board. Get yourself a desk. I got mine from IKEA using an Alex drawer unit at one end and desk legs at the other. Make sure you've got decent lighting too. Relying on the typical light bulbs in a house is just not going to cut it. I've reduced my eye strain and incidence of headaches by working from home by placing a couple of lamps behind my monitors. I've also added some colour changing RGB LED strips, light strips around the shed quarters where I work, and it seems to help create the right ambience too. Tip number 3, organise your workspace for efficiency. In the case of my shed quarters, I've got 2 separate configurations. One is sitting in front of my monitors to write, to record voiceovers, to edit videos. The second configuration is at the end of my desk, which is where I'm sitting right now, which is where I filmed these videos and also where I film podcast interviews. Both configurations are set up, they are ready to go at a moment's notice. I only configured my home office space like this just a few months ago. You can look back through my videos and probably spot the point where the background changed, and it has immediately boosted my productivity. This is not a big space, by the way. It's 12 feet wide, it's 8 foot deep, and it's about 1/10 of the space that I enjoyed in my previous office. But with some careful planning, you can make it fit. I'm known as a collector of toys. If it's new, shiny, and tech, then I need it in my life. That's not a problem other than for my wallet. When I've got a loss of leased office space, and that included a large storeroom, it quickly and apparently became a problem when I needed to have all of that kit at home. A huge part of my storage solution in this shed are the shelves that you can see behind you. I was very lucky with these as I had them in my old office. I was about to order a smaller set from IKEA to fit along this 8 foot wide sidewall. So I measured the available space and discovered that my old shelves would actually fit. I've no idea how they fit because they looked huge in my old office, but they give me space to store lots of things. There's 25 of these squares on them, and a few of them are taken up by books, as you can see behind me, but I've also got 10 large fabric boxes, again from IKEA, and they are perfect for storing various things. Already, just a few months after bringing my shelves home, I already need to reorganize them just to get my stuff in the right place so it's highly organized. Tip number 4 is about routine. I've found it very helpful personally to maintain some consistency with my daily routine. I make sure that I'm at my desk for 9 o'clock in the morning, sometimes a little later, depending on what I've been up to the night before. I take a proper break for lunch, eating in the house rather than bringing food back to my desk. And even if I plan to do some work in the evenings, because I'm a bit of a workaholic and I run my own businesses, I always make the point of finishing in here at 5 o'clock, and assuming it's light enough in the evenings, I go out for a walk for at least an hour. The work I do is pretty varied. No 2 days are exactly the same, but I do have a set daily routine in terms of my content creation. So a time I set aside each day to write blog posts, a time to script, film and edit these videos, a time for podcast interviews, but also a time for client work and for interacting with my team. That brings me to tip number 5, which is to stay in touch with your colleagues. I work in 2 businesses, Informed Choice, a firm of financial planners that has a team of 16 of us, mostly based in the southeast, but a few now further afield, one of the many benefits of remote working. And then Bamford Media, my creative agency, where we're a team of 4, all of us actually based in the same village in Surrey. We do things slightly differently in each business, but there are some common features across both. We have a weekly group Zoom call to just touch base, to share updates, just to keep everyone on the same page. We have a weekly pub quiz, which is a less formal online get-together. We have a WhatsApp group for instant communication and sharing some light-hearted stuff as well, lots of gifts being shared on that one. And our different teams have MS Teams sessions running throughout the day, so we can all communicate quickly without resorting to emails, without bothering people in different teams. We also use Basecamp to share news and project updates. And when we can, we see each other face to face. Usually that means a socially distanced walk in the countryside. That's 1-to-1 under current rules as part of our daily outdoor exercise entitlement. I'm an ambivert. I'm leaning towards introversion, and working on my own suits that style rather nicely. I've always got too much to do, so it means I relish the opportunity to get my head down, to unplug from the world and do some work. But I know that occasional social interaction is good even for me. Some people need it a great deal more than others. That said, I don't think the office environment is necessarily the right forum for nourishing that need. In my 20-year career today, I've met a lot of people who could easily get the same amount of work done in half the time, and then spend the time that they currently waste chatting to colleagues on far more enjoyable things. Those were 5 tips from me about making the working from home experience more enjoyable. A quick recap: find or create dedicated space, get the right kit in place, organise your workspace for efficiency, find a routine that works for you, and stay in touch with your colleagues. What would you add to my tips? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. Until next time, I'm Martin Bamford, and remember, when it comes to your money, the more you know, the faster it can grow.